So this is a quick overview of our class website. I'm not going to spend too much time here because we've all used websites before. I want to just give you a quick appreciation of some of the major portions of this website that you should pay attention to as we get started and get into the swing of things with this course. First off, on our landing page and our homepage, I want you to note that we have my contact details. Of course, this will link to my faculty website or my lab website where you can find out more about my research in bioinformatics. But more importantly for us at this stage, you'll find my contact details via email. You'll also find those details for our instructional assistants along with their email addresses. A link to the traditional course syllabus in PDF format, and I encourage you to browse through that. You can download this, of course, and keep it on record for yourself. It has all those normal things that you find in these sorts of syllabuses, including our specific learning goals, our course objectives, and a schedule for upcoming class segments. Now, on this landing page, you'll find much of the same information, including links to the schedule. And here I also want to point out that we'll be using Piazza. This is an online forum that we'll use to facilitate communication, particularly around questions and answers or problem sets or issues that we're working through in class time. We'll also be using Zoom for office hours, and there'll be a separate video coming from the IAs to introduce you to Zoom a little bit. There's no textbook for this course, but I do want to please point you to this pre-course survey that I'd like everyone to do and have ready at least the first week of class. So this will let me find out a little bit more about you, including so use your official UCSD email address here, please. And then what I really want you to add here is what kind of bioinformatics topics would you most like to learn about? What are you most excited to learn about? What would you most like to learn about? And your answers here will really shape how we proceed with this course. Of course, in this spring 2020 course, we're online due to the COVID-19 pandemic that we're all experiencing, of course. And we have a lot of flexibility to take this course where you want to take it. Now, this course is going to be different than our traditional face-to-face courses in its structure. I'll point you to the class schedule where, again, we're on spring 2020 here. So for this quarter only, we're doing a weekly schedule rather than the traditional class by class or lab session by lab session. So each week there'll be new content posted, typically on the Tuesday of each week. And this schedule page here is where you'll find all that information. So if you click on any of these topics, you can see here's our schedule, which we can change according to people's interests and learning goals. If you click on any of these topics, it'll take you to the content for that week. So there'll be a topic overview, what we're going to learn about in a given week, the goals that I have for you. These are our kind of learning objectives for the week. Introduction to bioinformatics here, for example, and these are YouTube videos, much like this one. That'll be typically around 10 minutes, but certainly no more than 15 minutes each to try and capture your attention and walk you through the core concepts and learnings for this particular week here. So please do watch these early in the week. Then we'll have our hands-on section worksheets. So these will link to sometimes web pages with interactive components to them, but in the first two cases, there'll be PDFs, such as this one, where we can fill in information and follow a procedure to go through and answer some questions that guide you through, in this case, key bioinformatics resource providers at the NCBI and the EBI. You'll also notice here that there's homework posted for each week. Now this will be things like quiz questions like this one. So here you'll enter again your UCSD email address, please, your UCSD number, that's the number on your card, the one you would use for exams and the like, and then you have questions to answer and submit, and these will be graded and returned to you pretty much at the end of each week when these things close. You'll also notice that there are readings here, for example, PDFs to original literature. Again, there's no class website. There's no class textbook. All the readings will be provided through this class website, and all will be free, so no lab fee, which is a good thing. Okay, so do have a look through some of this content. The videos will not be available until the particular week in question, because we only have a week and a half lead time to plan this entire course out, so we are kind of flying by the seat of our pants in terms of video recording and content creation here. What I do want to point you to is our computer setup. Here, this is, again, we'll be using, of course, your own computers that you have access to. You'll need to have administrator privileges to these, so this means you'll be able to install software on these computers. It's not some lockdown system from an employer or the like, but one where you can actually install software. So most computers will come with a modern web browser. It's often a good idea to have multiple web browsers. So for example, I want Chrome, Firefox, and Safari, because some sites work better in some web browsers than others. We'll also be using this Zoom meeting client here, much like Skype or FaceTime, if you will, where we'll host more interactive office hours as well as a lab session walkthrough. Then more critically, we're going to need the R environment for statistical computing and graphics, as well as the interface to R called RStudio. This is an IDE or a desktop development environment for this. So you can install R from CRAN. Let's link here and we'll see what this looks like. So if we click, this will open CRAN. I'm on a Mac here, so I would click on R for OS X, and we would then install this package, this R package, and go through the regular install procedure that you have if you're on OS X 10.11 or higher, and most students will. If you're on earlier versions, you will have trouble later in the course with some software that requires more recent versions of the OS, but please do check if that you can install this one first, and if it doesn't work, then we can always go back to earlier versions and work around those things. Now, if you're on a PC, you would click here to download the Windows version. Now, what you want is this base version. This is what you want to install, okay? Here, so click on this, and it'll be a regular Windows install. Then, once you've got that done, we'll go and we'll install RStudio. So here we'll click on RStudio link, and we'll open this website. And this will bring you to a rather fancy and very user-friendly IDE for interfacing with R. And we'll click here on my Mac to download this version. If you're on Windows, you would have a different install version, such as this one here. Okay, and these will look the same on both Windows and Mac, or indeed Linux, should you be using that particular operating system. Then that's pretty much all there is to do for Mac. There's one extra thing you need to do for Windows. Again, you don't need to do this for Linux, but this is to install Git for Windows. So you'll find that here, and then follow through these instructions with the downloader to finish the installation of this. What this will give you is a Unix-like environment, the so-called bash shell, that we will use to drive many bioinformatics programs later in the course. And with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off here by pointing you to assignments and grading. We'll have homework every week, as I've already said. This homework is going to account for 65% of your overall course grade. This is distinct from our traditional face-to-face courses when we've taught this course in the past, where we normally have a final exam, because we have no final exam for the spring 2020 quarter. This is only for the spring 2020 quarter. We do have a rather large contribution from a project. We have a number of mini projects that are counted as homework, but we have one large project that we work on from pretty much week 3 all the way through the course, and this counts for 35% of your total grade. You can find out more information about the project with these links, but we'll also talk about this at great length as we get into that segment of the course. So again, where we are mostly is the schedule. So what I would do is I would take this website and let's bookmark it. We'll add it here, and then we'll have it in our bookmark bar for the future to always get here and find our content for the week. Okay, see you next time.